background, with some software background, so I don't have any science background. But then I am sincerely going to forest, exploring flora and fauna for last 33 years, and then practically go to forest for every practical Sunday. Some forests, either it will be in Yod or Nagla or Kannala or Kanha or anywhere in the world. I think this is the first time in my last 33, 34 years I am stuck. I am observing nature from my window, from my terrace, from my garden, and I am able to see the two species of birds and around 25 species of butterfly that's so much smaller fauna. So basically, my journey towards macro photography or nature started in 1987. Uh, of course, those time.
Sir, 1 minute. So sorry.
Yeah.
So sorry to disturb you. I think your voice is slightly low and
Yeah.
there is some background, like I think air or something disturbance.
Now it is okay.
Yeah, it's much better now. It's much better.
Yeah.
Thanks.
College days and then being as I told you that being a commerce student, we have ample time in college as well as having the practicals and all that and the submission, journal submission on that. So I used to in and around Thane, basically in Leo, that is the backside of Sanjay Gandhi or Borivali National Park. So it was a paradise for us, and then of course I started with bird watching with my some senior friends in my society campus. Uh, TV channels, no internet, no mobile. So of course, communication was media was very less. Normal the landline or something, and then we have to rely going to BNHS, Bombay Natural Resources Society, to identify our photographs or whatever sighting we have done, or we have to elaborate over the phone the description. These days it is pretty easy. You just capture whatever you saw, either in a mobile or your digital camera. You just send across instant ID, say within 2 or 3 seconds. Also, that time it was pretty hard. And I used to get one idea of butterfly after 6 months because whenever I click a butterfly, that time it was a film camera days, and then I have to wait to complete all those 36 exposures. Then I have to watch that film roll, print that roll, and then I get that butterfly or whatever species I have clicked. And then my research or my identification start. So then I just have to go to Mr. Isaac Kemper in Vietnam. That time he was a librarian at PRO there. So I used to trouble him a lot. Sir, that. And then looking after some foreign magazines, or sometime if I am say lucky enough to go to their reservation area and took out their molded butterfly specimen, and then I can identify that butterfly. Frankly, that time the butterfly or other field guides was not available. Still, it is scarce in these days also. So it is pretty difficult to find out the exact Indian species. Of course, few foreign butterfly field guides or some field guides were available. So we used to know the family and the similar species. But sometimes it is very difficult if the butterfly species is endemic to India. So it is pretty difficult. But then it was a Herculean task to identify that butterfly or something. Those days, as I said, at that time, no TV channels were there or no internet was there. We used to get only the video cassettes from National Geographic or BBC. We we used to see the movies or documentaries which you normally see throughout the entire day, 24 hours on your Discovery Channel, BBC Channel, or National Geographic Channel, or anything. We used to get a specific and very limited source of those films. What I observed that time also, all the major fauna, bigger fauna was documented. The tigers, the lions, the elephants, the giraffes, the whales, showcase for the bees or ants or flies or the cicadas. Nothing was documented. And then when I used to go in my forest, that is, say, Karashpur or Karnala or here, I used to see so many colorful subjects, smaller fauna, the cicadas, the butterflies, the bees, along with my colorful birds. But nothing was written there, nothing was documented, nothing was known about them. Of course, no internet was there, so I was big question mark for me and my fellow friends. Okay, what is this? What is the name of this insect? Because that time it was only an insect. Because we used to know only the chatur, that is a dragonfly. We know fulpaku, that is a butterfly. We know the madhumakhi, the bee. But what kind of bee? Whether it is honey bee or some kind of bee or whether it is carpenter bee, we don't know. So then I started my smaller farm, whether it is insects, whether it is wildflowers, whether it is small. I was not able to identify also. So then my journey started with a smaller these kind of fauna, and then I started exploring. Of course, it was initially through some foreign books, but I at least get information that this is a praying mantis. What kind of praying mantis I don't know, but this is at least praying mantis. So then I started documenting them. And then after say 4, 5, 6, 7 years, I started writing a photo articles in Times of India or Lok Prabha magazine in Marathi. And then I started publishing this fauna. And then we've seen those kind of very colorful and with very unique features, whatever I observed. So they started liking those articles. They started used to see those, rather wait for those articles because those were published only once in a week in Times of India as well as in the Prabha magazine. So that time, yeah. As whatever I have seen in my forest, but nothing was available on any media that time. That time, of course, the media was only the books and some documentaries, but it was not available on. If I am seeing such a beautiful creatures in my surrounding, why not others? And then I started writing these photo articles, and then I started publishing through Times of India or Lok Prabha magazine, Marathi magazine. And then it is soon very popular, and then people are started liking that. People are joining me for my the weekly outings to your, just like you have your burning outings. So I was having my own set of friends, and then we used to go to your forest or Nagala forest or Tungaraj forest in and around Mumbai. Of course, we used to go to Matheran or Fansad or Bhima Shankar sanctuaries also. But my pretty consistent is that every Sunday we used to meet at 7:30 at Yaur, that parking lot, last bus stop, and then we start having a trail, nature trail for 2 3 hours, and then whatever we venture, we try to capture. So this was my journey started. Let us see some of these photographs, and then I will explain why those are so much fascinating and the story behind. So now I'm sharing my screen. Yeah, are you able to see?
Oh, this
Hello?
time.
Yeah.
Oh, this
Yeah. So this is a Atlas moth, one of the world largest moth. Now we used to see butterflies or moths. Normally they come to our home, say post monsoon or pre-winter time on the our tube lights. Normally that is the evening common evening brown butterfly or some moths. But we have seen those 2, 3, 4 inches big moth. But this moth is a huge means huge. The size wingtip to wingtip size is 10 inches to 12 inches. Yes, it's 1 foot moth. Pretty colorful. When I saw this moth in a Chinsoti Fall near Ghodbandar Road, say around 34 years back, I big moth can be there in our surrounding. But this is one of the biggest or largest moth in the world, not in India, in the world, and that we can not easily, but that we can see in and around us. All the areas we live around, say Thane, Mumbai, whatever Palghar, or in entire Maharashtra rather. So this is post monsoon in around Ganpati season we can see this moth. So this is one of the prettiest and huge moth we can see. So this is literally a natural wonder to us. I'm not talking in detail about this particular moth because we have a shortage of time. But then there are so many things about this moth that this moth can also. The only aim of this moth is to find a mate, and this then the mating is happening, and then the female will lay egg, male will die immediately after the mating. So he may live only for 3, 4 days, and the female may live say around 7 to 10 days only. So this is the fascinating fact about this moth. Of course, I showed you the biggest moth of the world, and this is one of the tiniest butterfly of our Indian region. This is a grass blue species. The size of this butterfly species is small fingernail size. So you can imagine the size. So this is also collecting Yaur. Um, This is naturally dewdrop studded butterfly. I have not sprayed water on this to beautify the my photography image. So this is a natural dewdrops form on this butterfly. So of course, if you want to click such butterfly images with the dewdrop, so you have to go in a winter early morning, say pretty morning, say 6:30, 7 o'clock. Whenever the light emerges, sunlight emerges, you have to locate this tiny butterfly and then you have to capture the butterfly. So you know that in Mumbai we have hardly any winter, but if you go to little colder region, say say north or colder parts of Maharashtra, so definitely you will get more opportunities. But if you try to locate these kind of butterfly species in say end November, December, early January, then definitely you will able to capture such a dewdrop studded butterfly which looks like a say a diamond on the butterfly wings. This is also one of the unidentified moth. The reason I am showing, we are seeing the frontal view. You can see the eyes and the leg position, and you can see the curled antenna also here. So here I show how photography composition you can do. So here there is the perch is a curled grass blade and there is a green background. So that you can capture along with this orangish beautiful colorful moth. So that you can capture. So you have to think about the from photographic perspective also. So you can do the composition, you can set your background, of course, whatever possible, and without harming the nature. photograph, we have to be very, very ethical in our forest. Try to minimize the harm to the nature and you can capture the things. That is my tip to all the new beginner or amateur photographer. Of course, you have to see the nature, you have to observe the nature, you have to capture this natural images so you can do the thing, but try to minimize the harm to the nature and never ever try to bring that natural subject to your home. Try to shoot there itself. So this is one of the moth species. Now I will show you the second image. Now again, this particular moth, again it is a frontal view. You can see the legs, you can see the spread. Also it is clicked in daytime, but the background is pure black. Now this is a photographic gimmick, that how you present your subject. Okay, now here you see the apex of the wings are totally sharp. If you see the earlier image, the apex are basically not properly focused due to the less aperture or less depth of field. But here I have kept the aperture high, so obviously the depth of field is high, and that's why my background is black, but my main subject is popped out. So here you can see a very beautiful and very tiny orchid. It was again clicked in Kurg, some Obronia species. I think Adesh is here, he can tell the exact species, but this is one of the most beautiful and very tiny orchid. Now, what is your macro photography? So you have to show the smaller things. Just 1 minute. Yeah, sorry for the. So this is a very tiny flower. Now I have captured with the macro lens and I have enlarged it so you can enjoy this beauty. But how tiny it is in a field. Now you can correlate with the hand size and the mobile size. The person is capturing the flowers. Okay. I have taken a very small part of that hanging flower. Okay. Now again back to your original image, and now you can imagine the beauty of the macro photograph. If you see with the naked eyes, you will not get to see that yellow dot or the texture of the flower. Or so your macro photography is a tremendous tool for you to get to know your smaller fauna in a bigger size, magnified size or enlarged size. So you can see yourself, and then you can share with your viewers or your friends that such a tiny thing which is very colorful with very unique feature, you can definitely show to your viewer. So this is basically your biggest feature of macro photography, that you can show very tiny, which are unnoticed normally when you go on your nature trail. So those are normally things get unnoticed and you just walk on, walk on, walk on. But these things are not noticeable to normal people. This is again very pretty common butterflies in and around Mumbai. It's called monkey puzzle. It was clicked in Nagla part of the Sanjay Gandhi National Park, which is on the Ghodbandha Road. Again, this is clicked in monsoon time. You can see the dazzling colors and the metallic scales. Now here you have to see that capturing beauty through your macro lens is a technical thing, that everything should be properly focused, everything, because for butterfly everything, the eyes, the antenna, the legs, the its thorax, it's the apex wing, it's the tail, everything is beautiful. the focus or the wings are not in the focus, and then you will not enjoy the thing. So managing your macro photography, managing your depth of field, managing your aperture is the biggest trick in the macro photography. So if you able to master your depth of field through your aperture, so you can master your macro photography. So that you have to keep in mind when you are doing a macro photography, what you want to show to your viewers, because you have seen that specimen live in the field, in the forest, but your viewers are not seeing that specimen. Maybe they are seeing that specimen first time. So you have to show them every practical detail of their wings, their antenna, their eyes. Every detail counts and every detail matters to showing the layman person or newbie to the in the nature world. Again, this is very beautiful photo of the tricolored pied flat butterfly. It is a skipper butterfly. That's why it's with the open wings. The beauty of this photograph is that it is nectaring for the Carvey bloom. Now, whenever you shoot your macro subject, you should understand your subject properly. You should know when and how to get these kind of photos or these kind of where you can find these objects. Now, suppose if flower, this is not possible because Carvey flower blooms once in a 7 year. So now the next Carvey bloom will be in 2023. So suppose if you want to venture in say 2020 monsoon or 2021 monsoon, you will not able to see a Carvey bloom. So that for that you need to wait till 2023. In Maharashtra, the Carvey bloom will be in 2023. So you should know these kind of things well before you are going or venturing your forest. So that will be your photography output or photographic images will be much more fruitful. So that you have to keep in mind that whatever kind of photography you are doing, it is landscape photography, you should know your subject well. If you are doing a landscape photography, you should know when and what time of the sunset or what time of the sunrise is there, what is the light direction, when it is setting the shadow. So that you should know if you are doing a landscape photography. If you are doing a macro photography, so you should know what kind of flowers will be blooming in that particular time of the day you are going or you are visiting that season or that area. Again, if the lay person is there and if I ask them what butterfly will so this is definitely correct, but this is not 100% correct. There are few butterflies which will never ever visit to flower. They prefer to visit on a rotten fruits. Here you can see it is a cow dung, and you can see the common now butterfly is taking some liquid from the cow dung or shade. You can also see there are some fruit flies and there is a blue bottle fly also. So there are some butterflies which will never ever visit to the flower. So if you want to shoot the this kind of particular set of butterflies, so you need to sit next to these rotten things. Of course, this will be difficult, but if you want to shoot this particular, you want to study the butterflies prior to your visiting the forest, so then it will be a proper, say, rewarding for your photography. This image was clicked in Funsad Wildlife Sanctuary near Murud or Roha. Uh, the first image I showed you, that is one of the biggest moth, that is Atlas moth. This is another big moth. Big moth is around say 5 to 7 inches. This is called moon moth or lunar moth. This was clicked in Bhagwan Mahavir Sanctuary in Goa in 2009. That time we were having a butterfly meet there, just like you in butterflies, and they are having similar activities for the butterfly. So we will have a annual meeting at some national park or sanctuary, and all the people gather across the India there to talk about the butterflies and its study and its conservation and all that. So this is why the field outing we have I have captured this moon moth image, one of the beautiful moth. Why it is called moon moth? You can see on its wing, it's like a moon phases. That's why it's called a moon moth. It's called lunar moth. Also, very pretty pista color, pale green color butterfly or rather moth, and very huge in size. Also, you can see its feathery antenna. That's why it can, and then they can find the mate and they can do the mating. So this is one of the beautiful moth of India. It's pretty common in Mumbai also. So if you able to venture some post evening forest trails, you will definitely able to spot this. Sometimes it's attract on the tube light also. So if you are lucky or if you are staying outskirts of the proper populated cities, so you will able to find this in your building campus also. Normally, are always colorful, but of course you can definitely convert it into black and white and present in a different artistic form. So it is not that you have to always show or display your photo in color. Whatever I showed you the earlier photo with the dewdrops, now this is a similar kind of butterfly with dewdrops on a grass flowers. Now you can imagine the size. Grass is always already very small. Of course, there are bigger varieties of grass also, but this is very tiny grass species, and those are the grass flower. And the butterfly was perched on that. Now, this is the third image I am showing you with the butterfly with the dewdrop. Can you now imagine the angle of this? If this image, you are seeing only the rim of the butterfly wing where the 3, 4, 5 dewdrops are formed, and I have captured only those. Now you can see the butterfly is sitting with tail end or wing end upper side. You can see the defocused antenna at downside. Of course, the head is at down, so you can imagine the angle. So basically, I can present because I have already shown you 2, 3, 4 images of butterfly with the dewdrops. But you can always venture about different angles, different lighting system on your image, and you can improve your photographic skill and you can improve your creativity showing the natural small this fauna or flora to your viewers because they have never seen in their life. So you have to showcase different kind of structures, angles, lighting setups to them. So this is one of the uh, these are the small butterfly eggs looking like a rasgulla, but those are definitely not rasgulla. These are a leaf blue butterfly eggs. Now the actual size of these butterfly eggs are of our poppy seeds or khaskhas in Marathi. You know the khaskhas? It's very tiny, a pinpoint size butterfly eggs. Now how I enlarge or magnify these when you are on your nature trip. So the next image I will show how I have captured this. The first image is with the pure macro lens. Macro lens is equipped with the 1:1 magnification that will show you the exact size of the object on your film screen or the sensor of these days in digital camera. The second image is with the extension tube. So I have installed one extension tube over and above my macro lens. So I have showcased that image, but still it is not that great. So I have installed all the three extension tubes. That is 12 mm tubes are installed on my 90 macro lens, and then I got the third image. Still it is not showcasing the beauty or the details of the eggs, so I have further cropped that image. These days we have equipped with the say 20 megapixel 30 megapixel camera, even in your mobile camera also. But then if you are going to print, then only that megapixel matters. So for showcasing you on a say this web meeting or Instagram or Facebook or WhatsApp, this is more than sufficient for have made this uh, image showing that how tiny or how colorful these butterfly eggs are there, and what is the texture of the butterfly egg. So this is one of the butterfly egg. There are different shapes and size and type of laying the eggs. Uh, these are the bees in the beehive. So this is one of the beehive close across the image. Those are the you can see the sharpness and the color and the wings. But still, as I always say, that you should show that at least two, three varieties of a single object, because they have not seen this in nature personally. So you have to show them each and every possible angle. So this is one of the angle that you will get to know that how the bees are sitting on the hive, and then how they perform or how they feed their babies and all that. But this is the title. Much more details of the bee. So this you have to perform on the field itself. ऐसा नहीं कि आपने एक बार एक इमेज ले लिया और हो गया आपका इमेज का काम नहीं. You have to think differently because you have seen that particular subject 360 degrees, but your viewer is seeing that image only one image. So you have to give them two, three, four different angles, different techniques, whether it is say of say full close up or only one bee or five bees or the entire beehive. So you have to give different variation to your subject. I have clicked these small spider babies. It was clicked in Yor itself. Now you can see the around 50 to 100 spider babies, and they are strangled with the. You can see the silicon web also. A good image, but still not satisfactory. So what is lacking? The image is definitely sharp. Image is showing the spider baby. The image is showing the silicon web, but still there is a no drama. So same image, rather same spot, but I have created drama by placing my flash. So I place my flash one at left side, one at right side. Now every silicon thread is now highlighted. Every the abdomen or the legs of these spider babies are highlighted. So you create a drama with your photography, with your image, and then you can show that this can be seen like this also. So that you have to do on a field itself. You cannot do this in post processing most of the time. So again, this is a hairy cup mushroom. This was collected in Karnala Bird Sanctuary near Panvel. So again, this is a good image, pretty sharp image, properly focused. You can see inside and the hair on the that mushroom. But still, the drama is missing. So I put one flash behind these mushroom, and now the light is passing or trickling from these cups, and the image is just like this. These are the cups are glowing in the light. So this drama, this is the same set of mushroom. This is the same equipment I am using. This is the same Karnala Bird Sanctuary. How you create lighting system that is tremendously important in your macro photography. So you have to play with your light, how light is important in photography, that you all know that without light photography, any kind of photography is impossible. But how you play with your light, that is extremely important in your image as well as your presentation. Again, this image is collecting Kurd. This is 7 years to 17 years underground. There is that is nymphal stage. They are the bug family, so they suck plant juices. So their babies suck plant roots underground, the trees, and in particular season, the about to adult insect come out. They have the you can see that brown exoskeleton. They break the exoskeleton and the adult come out, and the exoskeleton will be hanging on that leaf or the branch, whatever. And whenever the wings get dried, the adult cicada can fly on a for their further life. So this image is clicked only against light from the against the behind the cicada. So he is throwing the light on a cicada wing, and I was capturing that light only with the steady hands. So these kind of gimmick you can do, and you can then create a scene or create a drama, whatever the action is happening here. So this you can showcase that you can see the light is passing through the green leaf and the exoskeleton and from the blue wings. So this you can showcase. So you have to play some tricks while you are on the field itself. And these days there is a normal trend that सब कुछ post processing में कर लेंगे. We will do in say editing. You play on the field that cannot be done in a post processing. So you have to be unique with your ideas, unique with your equipment, unique with your whatever the accessories you have, camera accessories or the other accessories you are carrying. Like in this particular case, that this is the torch, a normal torch. So that you have to play these things on a field, and then your photography skill will improve with a tremendous scale. Again, this is Indrella ampulla endemic, a very huge snail with a red body and a black shiny snail. So this is again collecting core. Now you can again is a glowing. You can see the texture of the moth, and you can see the froth from the snail, and you can see the antenna or the eyes of the snail. So this drama you can create. So you have a normal camera equipment, but that how you play with your image, that is up to you. So that you have to think uh, before you click the image, that how you will be creative, and then you can showcase these kind of perspective, your perspective to your viewers. Again, very pretty common mushrooms. This was clicked in lying on the ground, but I have set up my flash across the mushroom, and then uh, I have illuminated the stalks also. I have illuminated the umbrella also. So this kind of image you will get if you play with your flash and all the system. Of course, the angle of shootings matters a lot. I will definitely come back on this particular topic again after some time. This is ultraviolet image, UV image. All ultraviolet light. Of course, you should have that ultraviolet torch or something. Uh, this is an this is a different kind of torch which emits ultraviolet light. So this will emit only the purple light, which is not used for a normal torch. This is specifically for finding the scorpions, or the common use of this ultraviolet light is identifying your node. You have seen this in your bank counters, cash counters, that the bank guy is checking the 500 and 2000 rupee notes under this ultraviolet light, and then they will see the whether it is the fake note or scorpions in the night, and then we shoot this in ultraviolet light. Now the trick in this photo is that you cannot fire a flash, because if you fire a flash, then you will get a normal scorpion, the black scorpion or whatever the scorpion color you got. You have to capture this UV light, so you have to boost your ISO, you have to minimize your aperture, and then you have to capture this ultraviolet glowing scorpion. So you have to tweak this some settings in your camera to get this kind of image. So you will get this glowing scorpion. So this is a pretty common in our area, different kind of scorpions. But this is a very unique scene in the night to see that if you throw ultraviolet light and all the uh, 100% all the scorpions will glow in ultraviolet light, but there are few mushrooms, there are few spiders, there are few centipedes will glow. Not 100%. So you have to check. You have to emit that light, and you have to check whether uh, that spider is glowing or not, whether that mushroom is glowing or not. This particular image was clicked in Kaziranga National Park. I was roaming in my resort campus, and then I was equipped with normal torch as well as my UV torch. So I just throw the UV light for searching the scorpion, and I saw that this particular centipede was also glowing. So I captured this image. Kind of species also glow in ultraviolet light. Again, this is very unique image. This is a glowworm, or we say kazwa in Marathi. So this is a female glowworm, and the light is captured here, which is glowing. Again, here if you throw flashlight, so it will give you, it will suppress the this mild light, because the flash power is 1,000 or more than that powerful, and then you will not get this glow. So I have mounted my camera on a tripod, and I opened my shutter for. Now, luckily, the worm is not moving. If it is moving, that you will get a light trail, and you will not get a firm or stable or focused image. Here, the luckily the glowworm was stable, so I was able to capture him in a 30-second frame, and I can show you that these kind of two lights are emitting from its the tail end. Again, this is a bioluminescent fungus. This can be seen in Bhima Shankar or Goa or Amboli. Very unique and very mild light emitted by the microscopic fungal growth. Okay, if you see in a daylight, you cannot see any structure there. But if you are going for a night trail, and if you close down your all the torches, slowly your eyes get used to this mild light, and then you can able to see this mildly lit image. Of course, this is enhanced in green color in post processing. Normally, it is not bright in the wild, so it is enhanced to show. It's called a Jyotirvanti also, but it is very beautiful sight. Of course, it is very limited area, so you cannot see in each and every forest in and around Mumbai. I don't think so. It is possible, but in Bhimashankar, I have seen in Ambu is very rain level is very high, so there you can see these kind of things. Uh, you can see it's very fascinating things in a nature. Of course, if you able to see, then how to capture is again a big task, because focusing on the right spot and then keeping camera open for 30 seconds and we capture the image is very pretty difficult, because you have to mold the camera on a tripod also, because otherwise it will shake. So that you have to take all the precautions, but then you will get these kind of images. Unique image because this is underwater. Of course, my camera is above the water level, but the subject, this is a giant wrinkled frog, which is under under the water. Okay, it was in a flowing stream. You can see the water bubble at the edge of the some leaf. The technique is here that you have, of course, this is the frog photography, so this is a night photography, so you have to fire a flash, but you have to see that the fire will not bounce back from the water surface. So you have to fire a flash, you have to capture the image in a specific angle that it will, the flashlight will fall on the subject, but it will tips and tricks that you have to follow when you are doing a night photography. But this is very challenging and very rewarding also. So that we have to perform while we are on a nature trail. Again, this is a small cricket frog. It was clicked in Fansad Wildlife Sanctuary. It was enjoying the small water gathered in that bracket fungi. This was clicked at Mayureshwar Wildlife Sanctuary. We were obviously searching for the chinkaras, but I found for that habitat where there are a grassland and very few water source. So the local guide told me that the this is a succulent flower. So the stems of this plant is very juicy. So chinkaras get water source from these bushes. So these bushes were flowering, and you can see the little bit hairy growth on the flower. And we were fascinated with that flower, and we were shooting those flower. And then somehow I found some movement. So it was that this flower mantis nymph there, and it was pretty much macro lens and all that. But we were engrossed with the flower, and we were unnoticed that mantis initially, but of course when we notice it, and then we were able to click that beauty also. uh, just wait a minute. Yeah, this was again clicked in Amboli. It was drizzling a lot, but that do the photography. Well, this is the most rewarding time where when you get a tremendous variety of biodiversity of the flowers, the plants, the various insects and the birds and all the species, and most of them are breeding that time. So they are hunting, they are mating, they are in monsoon also. Again, this is very fascinating image. This is very unique. This is praying mantis mimicking uh, fly, uh, very tiny. One Mahavir sanctuary, very unique image. This is the scorpion mother. There is a saying in Marathi, विंचवाचं घर पाठीवर. So why it is? Because every time when there is a female mother of scorpion, she is carried by saying that विंचवाचं घर पाठीवर. So this is a very unique image from Goa. Uh, uh, when we do a nature photography of wildlife photography, people are always amazed with the action photography. When it is a bird photography, they want bird in flight, they want say bird of prey capturing some fish or some snakes or something, or they want their mating rituals to be captured, or if it is a mammal photography, spotted deer, so they want to capture that action. But of course there is the action in the green eyes, and you can actually see the action photography that you can capture and you can show a different level of angles, different level of magnification level to the your viewers. So same image you can capture with two different perspectives. That is more important. How you can showcase your images, or what is you can tell to your photo stories to your viewers. This is the ballooning of a frog. If you are avid nature traveler, you must have a lot of frog calls in the night in the monsoon. So this is the actual ballooning or croaking of the male frog. This particular call is for the female as well as the rival male, that I am here and I am. I want to meet my favorite favorite female. So this is the male croaking for the female. Again, something different. This is Amboli bush frog. Now here the light source is only the torch light. Again, one of my friend is holding torch against the frog, behind the frog rather, around say 5-6 feet away, and it is the beam is very mild, and I have to capture that light as well as the frog. So it is, though the image looks good here, but it's pretty tricky because when the frog starts croaking, you don't know how to focus in the night, because if you throw a flash on a frog body, it will immediately stop the croaking. So you have to manage your or you have to think about your focusing on the frog eye and the croaking the balloon, and then you have to actual perform when it started croaking and when the light is hit. So this is a challenging task, but of course it is very rewarding also. So you have to perform all these kind of things in white. This is again a unique image. Geckos doesn't have eyelids, so they have to clean their eyes by removing the tongue out to the eyes, and they have to literally wipe out just like a wiper. So this image is captured in the monsoon in the Mathera. This is the banded gecko. Again, this is a Matharan shot. A very tiny wine snake captured a small bush frog, and it is a very early morning. It is a foggy morning, say approximately 7:30 early morning, and we saw this tiny baby wine snake capture the bush frog, and then I got this image. This is the same image, but meanwhile, all the my participant, all my fellow photographers uh, were capturing the image. The frog here, the legs are out. When I again started clicking the image, I took a side shot, but all the body is already gulped by the wine snake, and only the toes are hanging out. So this is another image. This is a very unique. Again, this is clicked in Matharan itself 2 years back, and this is one of the first record of cannibalism of the wine snake, because wine snake eating another snake or banded gecko or other birds also is captured and known by the Indian science. But wine snake eating a wine snake was not recorded earlier. This is the first record that bigger wine snake is gulping the another small wine snake. You can see it is a crush its head, and even the blood is oozing out. You can see even the difference in the eyes also. So this is a unique image, and it is worth for a photo story also. So that you have to able to tell your viewers that entire story, the entire drama you can narrate behind the scene kind of thing. This is another image. Now you can actually see the smaller snake's body also. So as I said, that you have to show different moods, different lightings, different kind of angles to the. So this was clicked in Nagala Bandar. This again moderate size wine snake with an open jaw. It was very in aggressive mode. Though we were not handling the snake. We were pretty long, and we were capturing with the wide angle. But somehow it was always with the open mouth. Again, image from Matharan, bamboo pit viper. You can see that fork tongue out. Again, you can see the lighting also here. Same individual snake with a different lighting. I put a flash below the tree trunk, and then you can see the illuminated tongue, and you can see the yellow color more prominently. Of course, one flash is from top of the head, so you can see the top of the body scales are also visible and enlightened. This is the third image. You can see the fork tongue. You can see the pit, because pit vipers are only the equipped with the pits, which are the heat sensing device for these kind of snakes. So not all snakes are having this pit system. Only the pit vipers are having this system. So here I am showing the fork tongue. Then there is a small opening of the nostril. Then there is a bigger opening or pit, that is called, and the eyes. So here you have to manage your photography skill, that everything should be in a proper focus. So you have to manage your depth of field accordingly, and then you have to manage with the help of aperture. You have to keep a desired aperture so you can show the focused eyes, the pits, and the fork tongue also. So that you have to technique you have to manage on the field itself. Again, the similar uh, bamboo pit viper, but I have put flash below the snake head, and now only the eyes are and the pupils are illuminated in that image. This is called as a low key image, different kind of uh, perspective, because I have already seen so many bamboo pit viper. I have already clicked so many images. So something different perspective you should have. So this is one unique angle for my photography. This is the soft scale viper, one of the venomous snake of India. The four venomous snakes are, are very famous in our region. Same species, not the same individual. It was collected in Goa. The earlier one was collected in Mahape, Navi Mumbai. So this is the front view. Again, the plane different kind of lighting. So you can imagine, you can have the beauty of on their eyes. You can see, you can enjoy the different perspective or different angle. Another tight close up of the snake. Uh, it was in a monsoon, so the snake was pretty wet. If you're seeing this snake in a while, you can see it always makes a S shape, and it rubs its scales and makes a hissing sound. So that's why it's called a saw-scaled viper. I am trying to showcase here the speed of the snake. You can see it is rubbing. So the head is stable, but the body is moving in a circular or S shape, and that is I'm trying to show the movement of the saw-scaled viper. Uh, this is again another venomous snake, normally found in Goa and Karnataka. This is hump-nosed pit viper. Again, you have to create your image. So how this image is created here, I will show you next. We were in a nature nest resort in Goa. This was the rock, and all the participants were clicking the snake. He's taking care that nobody will go close to the subject. So he's taking. So we have to create now. If we normally take the image, it will come with all the coconut trees and the banana trees behind. So I want to eliminate that. So I have clicked or placed my flash such a way that the background will be black, and background elements like the banana tree, the coconut tree, and other fellow photographer. I have eliminated them and I have focused or popped out my subject for my viewers. So this kind of technique we can develop in our macro photography, which is pretty much important. This is one of the most beautiful snake of the India. This is Indian ornamental snake or Indian flying snake. Yes, this is a flying snake. They don't have wings. They have body cavity, so they can glide from one tree to another tree. But the distance can be 100 meters also. Just like a parachute, they make their uh, as I already mentioned that this is one of the most common, most talked or most photographed Indian venomous snake. It is the Indian cobra. Front view. Behind the eyes, there are the bulging venom glands. So we can see and we can sense that those are the fully loaded venom. This is just to showcase that where are the venom glands are there. This is again a very unique angle of the Indian cobra. I was practically standing. Do not try this. If you are familiar with the snakes, if you are equipped with the knowledge, or if you are somebody who is helping you with the he is expert in snake identification handling, rather you do not handle the snake, but most of the time we or the snake friend rescue these poisonous or venomous snakes from the human habitat, and then we release nearby forest. That time we, for documentation purpose, we photograph them. So do not please handle the snake. You can enjoy them from a distance. You can do photography from the distance, zoom lens. If you are familiar with your photography, with your nature knowledge, please be safe. So this is a top angle of the snake or rather cobra. This is another one of the most beautiful and handsome snake of the India. This is Malabar pit viper. This is the only snake which is found in a color morphs. You can see this brown and green morph. There is a green morph, then there is a orange morph, then there is a blue morph, then there is a yellow morph. So there are different color morphs, and every particular individual is having different colors. So same snake you can find in different color forms. So always try to see different colors and try to capture. It is one of the beautiful snake. It is very people go only for this snake and Malabar gliding from. But of course, there are thousand different tiny things are stored there in Amboli. So try to do trails with open eyes, not to see only this Malabar pit viper or the Malabar gliding frog. Of course, you see them, you photograph them, but try to see other things also there. This is a orange morph of same Malabar pit viper. This is a yellow morph, which is very uncommon. This is again in of Maharashtra, Goa, and Karnataka. This is the same individual snake. The front view, uh, tight close up. Now here you can see the pits also. There are eyes, then there are pits, and then there are a little bit defocused two nostrils. So you can distinguish the nostril and the pits and the eyes. So this is a very tight close up of a yellow morph of Malabar pit viper. This is a dewdrops form on a spider web. For burning, but somehow that particular morning was very with the fog. It is very unnatural to have fog in Mumbai, but some days we have foggy morning. This is one of the foggy morning. So of course we were not able to see road after 10-12 feet. So of course not able to see any birds. But then I was equipped with my macro lens, so I able to capture some natural beauties. So these are the tiny say dewdrops form in the night and on a spider web. So this is one angle. My body, I have kept the gloomy sky as my background, and I have captured this image. Same time, same subject, same camera equipment, but different angle and different perspective. These are the assassin bugs coming out of the eggs. So it is an actual hatching of these bugs. This was again clicked in your. So here you will get a say green background, but if you move a little bit front and back or sidewards, you can get a black background also. So you have to try different kind of photography tricks on field itself. Almost out, and third baby is fully out, and it is roaming on the stick where all the eggs are laid by the female. This is the emergence of tawny coastal butterfly. The butterfly is coming out of the pupa or cocoon. This is very unique image, most liked image. I will not take much time. This is a female crab spider, green color. The brown one on her abdomen is a mating to that female. The female is very voracious, so she is busy eating the honeybee. So that's why the male of the crab spider is mating with her. And as the female fruit flies attracted on that honeybee. If you see the thorax and the wings of the honeybee, you will see there are tiny flies there. So there are altogether 11 to 12 living organisms there, and everybody is doing their natural some out of the thing other things. Again, this is my one of the award-winning image. This is a normal mosquito oozing the excess blood. This was again clicked in you. You can see one red drop on the 35 minutes. And then for the second drop, I got this image. This is a normal mosquito. This is the emergence of jewel beetle. Normally, they are red in color initially. After the aeration and oxidization with their body, with the climate, they'll exoskeleton, or you can say their skin will turn to metallic thing. This is again very tiny honeybee neck. Was a Karvi bloom season. This is the Tokli Karvi. This was clicked in Amboli, and this is a mobile image. But sometimes mobiles are pretty equipped with the panoramic images. You don't have to change the lenses in a field, particularly in monsoon. So that time, for the documentation purpose, mobiles are the best for capturing the images. This is my most liked or my you can see the fork tongue, and that was the key of this image. Again, this is very beautiful image. It is a draco or a flying lizard. It is clicked in Bundla park in Goa. You have to spot the camouflage draco here. Now, here is the head of the gecko. This is the body. These are the hind of the camouflage. This is this is some texture or forms in nature. This is a centipede and the bright red legs. This is the curled up body. These are the fruit piercing moth caterpillar, very artistic or mirror image kind of image. This is a new technique or new style called a wide angle photography. Normally in macro photography, we try to showcase 72. In wide angle photography, it is performed by the wide angle image, and along with your main subject, you can show its habitat. Like this is the crinum lily, which blooms in a first or second shower in our Mumbai forest or rather in Maharashtra. So this is collected in Yor itself, but you can see the dry deciduous forest behind this the flower and the dry land also. So that is showing the habitat or that is showing the life cycle of these species. So this is a different kind of style of the. Here also you can see the hump-nosed pit viper and its habitat. You can see the rock patch and the jungle behind it. Here you can see the mossy atmosphere at bamboo pit viper in Mathiran. Again, Mathiran, you can see the begonia species and the foggy morning behind the flowers. Here you can see the setting sun in Mayureshwar Wildlife Sanctuary, and you can see the scorpion female on a rock. Again, Matharan image, huge mushroom and the foggy forest behind the. In Mumbai, we are equipped with so many sea beaches like Girgaon Chopati, Bandra, Juhu. This particular image was clicked at Haji Ali. So we have tremendous amount of marine life there. Colorful, very colorful, unknowingly. Though it is polluted, though it is very populated, but it is a tremendous different life there. So do venture our Mumbai shore for such kind of macro photography. This is porcelain crab. Though it is a crab, but it's from a lobster family. Very colorful, very metallic, very vibrant color, not metallic. 2 3 years back. This is sea anemone. Again, it is clicked at Haji Ali. You can see the actual mouth part here. This is शंख. Normal हम लोग जो पूजा में शंख यूज करते हैं बजाने के लिए. This is the snail or शंख is laying eggs. These white are the egg pods. This is on a Girgaon Chowpatty. This is a bee orchid, which is normally blooming at current stage. Of course, due to the lockdown, we are in Sanjay Gandhi National Park at Yaur side. We can see these bee mimicking orchids. The flower mimics like a bee, and the male try to mount on the bee and try to mate, and then the pollination happens. Ceropegia, one of the beautiful flowers. In Marathi, we call it as a Pushpakandil. It's like a lantern flower. So this is Ceropegia jaini. This is Ceropegia media. This is the top of Ceropegia vincifolia. This is Ceropegia fantastica. This was clicked in Amboli. This is another insectivorous plant, but this tiny short-horn grasshopper is mounted on a flower, which is a non-sticky. Now I have shown you all the beautiful images of macro. How it is performed, how difficult it is, because it is always we show you the magnified or the enlarged view. Now you can see me here.
This is a Nanighat fort, and I am clicking this Seropeja, which is very unique and nowhere found on this entire plateau. So I was holding this rock because there is a fall of tremendous in the valley, and I was capturing this stalk of the Seropegia rolling fall. It is difficult because on this entire plateau it was breezing and falling in the valley and capturing the image. And I click just 2 3 images, and this is the image. This is the Seropegia roli. Then I captured this silver line butterfly in at Velas, pretty few years, 10 12 years back, and I this was against light image. Now I am snipping here, the butterfly is here, and I am capturing this butterfly along with the rising sun here. Now you can see the image and you can imagine the thought behind the image. You can see now the rising sun, the butterfly, and I am capturing rising sun rays directly from my 180 macro lens in my eyes. I was literally crying. Rather, there is droplets from my eye, but you can see the image. So I was thought for a second. I click within 2 3 seconds, and then I then remove my lens from the rising sun. Now, when you see the snake images, people normally ask me how far. Then you must be taking from a pretty behind, and must be taking it from the zoom lens. So this is not the case. This image is clicked in Singaraja National Park in Sri Lanka. This is Sri Lankan green pit viper. You can now, and this is the result. So normally you see the end results here, but this is the behind the scenes. So this is how we are making the images in the wild. Again, this is from same national park. I was capturing some spider here. You can see my wireless flash kept there, and there is a spider in between this flash. This is the spider, and then this is the result. Again, this is in Goa. This is Humpnose Pit Viper. All the flash were set, and I am capturing the image. Photography, or rather any kind of photography. So eyes are extremely important. So I was focused on the snake eyes, but suddenly that fly landed on the that hump of the snake. So I shifted my focus from snake eyes to the fly eyes, and I captured. So that's why you are pretty much familiar with your camera own equipment. So how you can focus, how you can change your mode, that is pretty much important in your macro photography, or rather any kind of photography. This is a second image from the same snake. This is Downy Raja. Is taking juices from the human excreta. This is the most smelliest photo I have ever taken. You can imagine, and you know now how much distance we keep while doing our macro photography. So I was away from this shit just 6 7 inches, and it was smelling pretty bad. But then I want to capture this butterfly beauty in how. So I managed to shoot 2 3 images, and then I ran off from the site. We have to do jugglery, we have to do yogasans, we have to do pretty much odd position of our body. Then only we can capture the images, and you have to go to their level because macro is. So that is pretty much important in macro photography. So we have to do all kind of body twisting and all the things on the field. This was in CAS. Of course, we have to do some blood donation. This is a leech on my leg. This is the blood oozing from my left leg. So these some sacrifices we have to do. So that's the end of the presentation. Yeah, so that's the end of the presentation for my small wonders. For any questions, please you can ask me.